Have you ever found yourself in a situation where emotions seem to dominate your mind and dictate your actions? Maybe it's that argument at work that you can't get out of your head, or an impulsive decision you made and now regret. In the whirlwind of everyday life, it's easy to get lost in uncontrolled thoughts and feelings. But what if I told you that there are proven techniques based on the wisdom of the ancient Stoics that can help you master your emotions and act with more clarity and purpose? In this video, we'll explore 7 foolproof Stoic techniques for mastering your emotions. You'll learn the importance of reflect before you act, how to ask the simple but powerful question, will it matter 5 years from now, and the ability to see obstacles as an opportunity. Let's also talk about what's really within your control and how to focus on what matters. We will explore attribution of meaning and reappraisal of thoughts and beliefs, and how these concepts can transform your perspective. And finally, we'll dive into existential self-understanding, a journey of deep understanding about who you are and what your purpose is. By the end of this video, you'll not only understand these techniques, but you'll be able to apply them in your everyday life. Imagine having the ability to stay calm in times of crisis, make decisions wisely, and turn challenges into opportunities for growth. This is not only possible, it is guaranteed if you follow the practices we are going to share. So stick with us until the end, because we're going to break down each of these techniques, explain why they're effective, and show you how you can start using them today. It's not about being perfect, but about being better every day, one step at a time. In addition, have you ever stopped to think about what it would be like to have a guide of Stoic wisdom and millennial knowledge at your disposal? Imagine having access to deep reflections and practical strategies to face the challenges of everyday life with serenity and purpose, exactly what you find here. If you are looking for personal development, if you want to learn to control your emotions and live a fuller and more conscious life, then you are in the right place. We bring you videos that delve into the teachings of the great Stoic philosophers, as well as insights from contemporary thinkers, all in a clear, practical, and accessible way. Don't miss the opportunity to transform your life with these valuable lessons. Click on the subscribe button now and activate the bell so you don't miss any of our exclusive content. First technique, reflect before acting. How many times have you found yourself impulsively reacting to a situation only to regret it soon after? We live in a world where we are constantly bombarded by stimuli and pressures, and our natural tendency is to react without thinking, guided by the heat of the moment. However, the Stoics, such as Seneca and Marcus Aurelius, taught us the importance of a conscious pause between emotional stimulus and response. But how can we cultivate this skill? And why is it so essential to our inner peace? Let's dive into the practice of reflect before acting. First, let's understand the importance of this pause. By introducing a moment of reflection between what affects us and how we respond, we create a space for wiser choices. Instead of being swept away by the tide of emotions, we can clearly decide the best path forward. But what triggers these impulsive reactions? Recognizing our emotional triggers is the next step. It can be a criticism, a delay, or even a simple comment. Identifying these patterns empowers us. As Epictetus said, it is not the things that disturb us, but our opinion of them. By realizing which situations affect us, we can prepare ourselves to deal with them in a more conscious and balanced way. Now think about a difficult situation you faced recently. How did you react? Reflective questioning is a powerful tool to guide us in this process. Questions such as, what is the best way to answer this? Or what are the consequences of this reaction? Allow us to analyze situations more carefully. This type of reflection not only helps you make more thoughtful decisions, but also helps you avoid future regrets. The practice of reflect before acting brings numerous benefits. As we take this approach, our emotional responses become more appropriate and constructive. We develop greater self-control and improve our emotional intelligence, essential qualities for a more balanced and meaningful life. It's not just a matter of avoiding conflict, it's about building healthier relationships and making decisions that truly reflect our values. However, like any valuable skill, this practice requires persistence and dedication. It's not something that happens overnight. It requires daily training and a commitment to personal growth. But the good news is that the more we practice, the more natural it becomes. So I invite you to start today. Incorporate this technique into your daily routine and see how your life can transform. Remember, every little break is a step toward a more mindful and fulfilling life. The Stoics believed that true freedom comes from our ability to choose our reactions. After all, as Seneca said, life is like a play, no matter how long it is, but how it was acted. Second technique. Ask yourself if this will matter in 5 years. How many times do we find ourselves caught up in everyday worries, as if they were the most important things in the world? In those moments, it's easy to forget what really matters. The Stoics, masters at staying calm in the face of life's storms, taught us a simple but powerful technique for dealing with these situations. Ask yourself, will this matter in 5 years? Often our vision is limited to what is right in front of us, to the immediate. It is natural to focus on the now, but this can lead us to exaggerate the importance of present events. The technique of broadening the temporal perspective invites us to look beyond, to see life from a broader point of view. When we broaden our time horizon, we put the problems and challenges in a more appropriate proportion, realizing that in the vast majority of cases, they are much smaller than they seem. By questioning whether something will be relevant 5 years from now, we interrupt our tendency to dramatize and overestimate the importance of the current moment. This question acts as an anchor, bringing us back to the essentials. Over time, this practice helps us prioritize what really matters, invest our energy and attention in what is meaningful to our growth and well-being. Let's think about some concrete examples. Imagine that you are facing a disagreement with a coworker or are worried about criticism received. Ask yourself, will this have any real impact on my life 5 years from now? Most of the time, the answer is no. This simple exercise helps us shift our attention away from trivial matters and focus on our long-term goals. This technique is not only useful for minimizing daily stress, but also for important life decisions. It can help determine whether it's worth changing jobs, investing in a new skill, or even how to handle a major conflict. The question, will this matter in 5 years, works as a filter, allowing us to see more clearly what is essential. To incorporate this practice into everyday life, I suggest creating visual reminders, perhaps a note on the bathroom mirror or an alarm on your cell phone. Each time you face a stressful situation, use that as a trigger to apply that question. It's a skill that requires persistence and patience, but over time it will become second nature. Third technique, seeing obstacles as an opportunity. In our lives, we all face moments of adversity, those obstacles that seem to come out of nowhere, threatening to divert our path. However, Stoic philosophy offers us a transformative insight. The challenges we face are not mere stumbling blocks, but rather opportunities in disguise. Instead of fighting them or lamenting their existence, the Stoics teach us to accept them as a natural part of life. Obstacles are neither good nor bad. They are simply facts that are presented to us, and the way we choose to face them defines our character. When we look at the teachings of Marcus Aurelius, we find a leader who, despite facing incessant crises, from wars to plagues, never let himself be discouraged. He saw every challenge as a chance to strengthen his soul and cultivate virtue. For the Stoics, true happiness lies not in the absence of difficulties, but in the ability to develop moral virtue in the midst of them. Virtues such as courage, patience, and resilience are forged in the furnaces of adversity. Let's remember that difficulties are inevitable, but our judgment on them is optional. Seneca, another great Stoic philosopher, faced banishments and personal losses, but he held a Stoic view. We should not judge events as good or bad. He believed that by facing challenges with an open mind and an attitude of acceptance, we can find deep personal growth. Think of historical figures like Nelson Mandela, who, despite decades of unjust imprisonment, has emerged as a symbol of peace and reconciliation. Mandela, influenced by Stoic ideas, saw his suffering as fertile ground for the development of his inner strength and unwavering principles. These examples remind us that by turning obstacles into opportunities, we can transcend our limitations and find deeper meaning in our experiences. Facing obstacles as opportunities is not an easy task, but it is a practice that we can cultivate daily. Every challenge is a chance to become stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" we can ask ourselves, "How can I grow from this?" This change in perspective is critical for personal development and for finding lasting inner peace. Obstacles are inevitable, but our response to them is a choice. By embracing challenges with a growth mindset and with Stoic principles in mind, we can turn every difficult moment into an opportunity for self-development and fulfillment. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "Obstruction to action advances action. What stands in our way becomes the way." Let's see obstacles as the path to a fuller and more virtuous life. Fourth technique, understand what is within your control. The Stoic philosophers taught us a crucial lesson. There is a clear distinction between what we can control and what we can't. Our judgments, our choices, and our reactions are areas where we have dominance, while external events, such as the behavior of others, life circumstances, and even our health, are things that are beyond our reach. The Stoics, such as Epictetus, emphasized that focusing on what is under our control is the key to true freedom. By focusing our energies only on what we can influence, we avoid wasting time and effort on useless worries. This understanding frees us from anxiety and fear, allowing us to face life with serenity and balance. Exercising internal control is a central practice in Stoic philosophy. This means developing the ability to govern our thoughts, desires, and emotions. Meditation and mental discipline are powerful tools for strengthening this skill. As Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor, wrote in his Meditations, "The happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts." Training our mind to respond to circumstances in a thoughtful manner, rather than reacting impulsively, is an essential step for personal development. This approach also brings to the fore the notion of responsibility and autonomy. We are responsible for our own actions and decisions. By recognizing this truth, we become active agents in our lives, able to choose our responses to challenges and adversity. This empowers us to act in accordance with our values and principles, rather than being mere passive spectators of circumstances. Focusing on what's under our control frees us from anxiety. By understanding that we cannot change certain external events, but we can choose how to react to them, we achieve an inner peace. This serenity is one of the fundamental goals of Stoicism, to live according to nature, accepting what cannot be changed and acting with wisdom and virtue where we have power. To apply these concepts in everyday life, consider situations in which you feel powerless or anxious. To ask yourself, is this within my control? If the answer is no, practice detachment and focus on how you can respond in a virtuous way. For example, if you're worried about a job interview, instead of focusing on results, focus on preparing as best you can. If you face criticism, remember that you cannot control the opinions of others, but you can choose how you react to it. The exercise of internal control is an ongoing practice, a journey of self-discovery and growth. By integrating this philosophy into our lives, we become more resilient, more serene, and more aligned with our true values. By understanding what is within our control, we find an inexhaustible source of inner peace and power. The practice of this Stoic distinction invites us to live with more awareness and purpose, facing each day with courage and wisdom. Fifth technique, reevaluating thoughts and beliefs. Our minds are like gardens. What we cultivate grows and grows. We are often victims of our own distorted thoughts and limiting beliefs, which prevent us from seeing reality clearly and objectively. This is where the practice of reevaluating and restructuring our thoughts comes in, an essential skill in both Stoicism and personal development. Identifying negative and distorted thoughts is the first step towards transformative change. These thoughts can include exaggerated assumptions, jumping to conclusions, or unfair generalizations about ourselves and the world around us. By bringing them into the light of consciousness, we can question their veracity and begin to replace them with more balanced and realistic perspectives. Reframing these limiting beliefs is an ongoing and deliberate process. We must ask ourselves, is this belief helping me or hurting me? And is there a more constructive way to look at this situation? This process of questioning is essential to develop a more objective view that is aligned with reality. In addition to reevaluating our thoughts, we can also use our imagination in a positive way. Visualizing desired scenarios and beneficial outcomes is a powerful tool for shaping our mental and emotional state. By imagining a positive future, we cultivate emotions and attitudes that move us toward our goals. This practice is not limited to superficial positive thinking, but involves connecting this vision with concrete and consistent actions. When it comes to stress management, the Stoics teach us to accept what we can't change and to focus on what's within our control. Relaxation techniques, such as deep breathing and meditation, can be combined with organization and time management strategies to create a more balanced life. Mental flexibility, that is, the ability to adapt to circumstances, is a Stoic virtue that helps us navigate uncertainties with serenity. In the workplace, managing emotions is crucial for maintaining productivity and well-being. Learning to deal with conflicts and interpersonal challenges in a constructive way is a valuable skill. Establishing clear boundaries between work and personal life is essential to avoid burnout. Additionally, harnessing positive emotions such as enthusiasm and satisfaction can serve as a significant boost to our effectiveness and creativity. The practice of reevaluating our thoughts and beliefs is a path to inner freedom and personal growth. By cultivating a clearer and more objective mind, we become more resilient in the face of challenges and better able to live according to our deepest values. Sixth technique, existential self-understanding. At some point in our lives, we all wonder about the purpose of our existence. These fundamental questions are part of the human journey and are explored deeply by logotherapy, a therapeutic approach developed by Viktor Frankl. Logotherapy focuses on the search for a deeper meaning to life, especially in the face of adversity and suffering. Frankl, a psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor, believed that existential self-understanding, reflecting on our own existence, purpose and responsibility, is essential to facing life's difficulties with resilience. This self-understanding allows us to see beyond immediate circumstances and discover a purpose that sustains us, even in the most challenging situations. It is through this search that we find a solid foundation for our emotions and actions. Existential self-understanding is not just an inner search, it is also a journey of self-transcendence. As we reflect on our purpose, we are led to consider how we can contribute to something greater than ourselves. Frankl called this self-transcendence, which is the ability to go beyond the individual self and dedicate oneself to causes, projects, or other people. It is in this movement beyond our own interests that we find a deeper sense of personal fulfillment. Self-transcendence challenges us to look at the world and identify ways in which we can make a difference. This can manifest itself in many ways, whether through volunteer work, creating something beautiful, or simply being a positive presence in other people's lives. Stoicism, with its emphasis on virtue and service to the community, resonates deeply with this idea. Philosophers such as Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius teach us that to live a virtuous life is to seek the common good, finding purpose in actions that benefit others. By committing to something greater, we find meaning that transcends difficult circumstances. This perspective helps us deal with emotions in a more resilient way, as our focus shifts from being exclusively about our difficulties to focusing on how we can respond to them in a meaningful way. The quest for self-understanding and self-transcendence is an ongoing journey, and each step leads us to greater clarity and purpose. Viktor Frankl stated that life never ceases to have meaning. Even in the face of the most overwhelming suffering, there is always a purpose to be found. This philosophy invites us to look beyond ourselves and to find in life a mission that uplifts and transforms us. Existential self-understanding and self-transcendence are keys to a full and meaningful life. They help us find a purpose that guides and strengthens us, even in the fiercest storms. Seventh technique, attribution of meaning. This technique is a complement to the previous one and can be used with it. On our journey through life, we are often confronted with challenges and adversity that seem meaningless. It is in these moments that one of the deepest questions of existence arises. What is the purpose of it all? The philosophy of logotherapy, developed by psychiatrist Viktor Frankl, offers a powerful approach to finding meaning even in the most difficult situations. Frankl believed that by assigning meaning to life's events and challenges, we can transcend suffering and find a sense of direction. This perspective is especially useful when facing moments of pain or confusion, as it allows us to contextualize our emotions within a broader and more meaningful narrative. Finding meaning is actually a choice. We can't control every event that happens to us, but we can choose how to interpret them. This is the power of assigning meaning. It transforms seemingly negative situations into opportunities for growth and learning. For Frankl, life never ceases to have meaning, even in the most adverse circumstances. It is up to us to discover it. Logotherapy invites us to explore deep questions such as, why is this happening? And how can I use this experience to grow? When we seek these answers, we not only find comfort, but also a reason to move forward. This process of assigning meaning can be transformative, helping us to deal with suffering in a more resilient and constructive way. This search for purpose is not just a theory, it is a practice that can be applied in our everyday lives. For example, when we face a loss, we may see it as an opportunity to value relationships and the time we have more. When we deal with difficulties at work, we may seek to learn something new about ourselves or develop new skills. Assigning meaning to events does not mean ignoring pain or difficulty, but rather finding a way to integrate them into our personal narrative in a way that strengthens us. Viktor Frankl said, when we can no longer change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. This inner change, this reinterpretation of circumstances, is what allows us to find a light, even in the darkest moments. Meaning is about creating a life worth living, a life where even challenges and suffering have a place. By finding purpose, we not only survive, but flourish. Even in the face of adversity, we have the freedom to choose our attitude and to find meaning that transcends us. Did you like the content? We're excited to announce that we'll be debuting our community tab soon. It will be a space for all of us to connect, share experiences, and learn from each other. We will have many news, debates, polls, and exclusive content that will enrich our joint journey. We want you to be part of this community, helping to create an environment of mutual support and growth. And of course, we love hearing from you. Leave in the comments what you learned from this video if you have been through a similar situation, or how the techniques discussed can help you in your daily life. Your participation is very important for us and for everyone who is looking to improve their lives. Don't forget to check out the other videos and join our new community tab. Together, we can grow and find meaning in every moment of life. I'll wait for you in the next video.